What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today I have got some wonderful news for you. We've got national championships, which aren't really national championships, they're international championships for the One Piece card game. We have a world championships for the One Piece card game, and a whole bunch of other Bandai card games as well. And basically, things are looking very good indeed. And I am absolutely delighted. There is a lot of very cool stuff coming up. And I'm just going to say it. I think you need to be getting in on these. And if you're wondering, hey, Wassy, we going to be seeing you at any of these? Yes. Yes, you will, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, you will. So let's start off with the announcement of the Championship 2023 finals. And a lot of people are referring to these as nationals, but I don't think that's right. These are not national championships. These are international championships. They are not happening in individual countries. They are happening in regions, in continents. It is like the international championships we see for the Pokemon trading card game. And I mean very literally like the ones we see for the Pokemon trading card game. In the Pokemon trading card game, we have 4 international championships a year, happening in Europe, North America, Latin America, and Oceania. Although I suppose it is worth pointing out that it has been announced that this coming year, there will not be an international championships for Oceania. That is stopping this year. Feel free to be sad about that. I am personally sad about that. I was in Australia, in Melbourne, in February at the Oceania International Championships on the commentary team for Pokemon. I loved it, but it's not happening next year. So again, be upset. I'm upset personally, but that's just the way it is. Well, that is exactly, and I mean exactly, what One Piece have gone and done here. We've got 4 regions, and it is those 4 regions. Now, most of them are happening the weekend of the 27th and 28th of January. The one in Europe is actually happening on the 20th and 21st. I personally am delighted about this. Absolutely delighted about this, because the weekend of the 27th and 28th of January is the Liverpool Regional Championships for Pokemon. It is the only Pokemon Regional Championships happening in the UK as far as we know this season. It is the only one I can drive to. I suppose I could technically drive to ones in Europe, but I'm not doing it. So, yeah, that would create a huge dilemma for me, and I'd have a choice to make. I don't have a choice to make. So if anyone's wondering, because I do get this question a lot, I actually had a couple of people ask me yesterday when this was announced, hey, Wassy, are you going to be in Utrecht in the Netherlands? Yes. Yes, I am, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I am. I will be there on the 20th, 21st, so if you're there, come and say hello. Now, there's also one happening at Bandai Card Games Fest World Tour in Los Angeles. Now, this one is a little different. We're going to go more into this in a second, but that is happening at the LA Convention Center the following weekend, the 27th, 28th, when I will now be in Liverpool with no awkwardness. I'm going to be a busy boy at the end of January. And then in Latin America, it is happening in Chile the same weekend. And then Oceania is actually happening at the Melbourne Convention and Exhibition Centre. I was there in February for Pokemon, and One Piece are going to be there in January for their, well, I'm calling it international. They're just called championship finals. I think internationals is the way to go. Now, there are 2 very important points about the North American Championships which need to be borne in mind. Firstly, there is a buy list. And I'm not showing you the whole list, alright? There's a link on the website. I'll pop a link in the description so you can go and check. But you know if you're on that or not, frankly. Because here's the deal. You don't need an invite anymore. And obviously, we thought there were going to be invites. That has changed. It is different to how it was before. So what have they gone and done? Well, they actually popped it on their Facebook group, and they phrased it like this. For the 2023 season in North America, we are planning to run an open finals event in Los Angeles and grant players receiving a finals invite from our regionals a 2-round bye alongside a priority registration slot for the event. This event will be capped for logistic reasons, and there will be a registration for goodness sake, deadline. I've re-recorded this twice. I'm not recording it again. It says deadline. I don't know why I can't say that word. We also enacted the passing down of finals invites this season, which will allow a wider range of players the opportunity to earn their first round buys for finals championships. With these developments in mind, we decided to remove invites from our store championship events. We believe these changes are in the best interest of our players and will allow an even greater audience to enjoy our card games throughout the season and join in the biggest Bandai card games event yet. Please note these details are still under consideration and subject to change. Regions outside North America are going to have an open finals as was always planned. And look, I know some people aren't very happy about this, but I am 100% in favour of what they're doing here. I think it is absolutely fantastic and I absolutely love it. I think this is wonderful. Now, the argument against it basically is, well, hang on a second. If I'd have known it was an open finals, I wouldn't have bothered travelling around trying to get my invite. I've wasted time travelling and I've wasted money travelling around playing to get my invite. That is a fair point to make. Having said that, you still travel around to play tournaments as a lot of people would have anyway, and even though, and there is absolutely an argument that some people have travelled and played in events they wouldn't have to try and get their invite, I get it. But we've seen this happen with the One Piece TCG. It is phenomenally popular. I expect it to hit the cap. I expect this to happen. So with that borne in mind, you get a 2-round buy, which incidentally will give you perfect resistance, so anyone with a bye who's got the same number of wins as somebody who didn't get the buys is going to be ahead of them in the standings, which is huge. So you get a 2-round bye with perfect resistance, assuming it works like in every other card game, which it obviously will, and you get priority registration. So there are going to be people that are posting, couldn't get in for the registration, it was full, boo hiss, etc. That is not going to be anyone that got their invite. So yes, I understand that some people will be upset about this, and I do get that, and it is a valid point. But also, 2-round buy, priority registration, and look, the reality is more people get to play. Rather than having a smaller tournament from people who got the invite, we've got a bigger tournament and more people get to join in. That's a good thing, as far as I'm concerned. A very good thing. So that's the finals. What about Worlds? Well, Worlds is happening on March the 3rd and 4th in Japan. Now, side note, you need to make sure that you are available and hold a valid passport. This is a little bit awkward. Now, I went to Japan. I actually commentated the Pokemon World Championships last month in August in Yokohama. And the deal is, as an entertainer, because as a caster I had to have an entertainer's visa, I needed to go and get a visa. Now, UK and European players didn't need a visa at the time, which was kind of awesome. My advice to you guys, go and check soon. Don't be the person that misses out going to Japan to play in Worlds. That would be a very sad thing indeed. How do you get to Worlds? Well, you need to qualify through these finals. And the prizes look like this. If you come second, you get an invite with airfare and hotel included, but only in North America and Europe. If you want to know the reason for that, it's attendance. Latin America and Oceania will be expected to have a much lower attendance. Therefore, they're not giving out 2 invites, they're giving out 1. The champion for all of them will get an invite to Worlds. This is going to be awesome. So yeah, it's not going to be easy to qualify for Worlds, ladies and gentlemen, but I do rather suspect it's going to be worth it. Now, as a side note, you may participate in offline events if you live in another region. So European players can go and play in LA, as an example. I would love to, but, firstly, I'm in Liverpool that weekend for Pokemon, and secondly, I'm not flying to LA. That's a really long way from where I live. However, you must maintain residency in that region in order to represent that region at a World Championship event. If a non-resident wins a finals event, the World Championship invitation will be passed down to the next highest ranking resident of that region, bearing in mind if you get the buys, you are going to be put up in the standings compared to other people who didn't have buys, which is, again, a very, very big deal. I love this. I think both of those things are perfect. I think allowing people to join in, even if it's not their home region, is awesome, because some people want to go and play. By the same token, I also think that it's brilliant that they are not going to let people, essentially they're not going to let a European go and take, one of the 2 slots for North America. They're not going to go and let a Canadian person go and take the only Oceania invite. I think this is fantastic. I think this is absolutely the perfect way round to do it. But Worlds is going to be a bit weird. And I mean that in the best possible way. Because there's actually a Bandai Card Games Fest World Tour going on. Now, in terms of World Tour, some people have pointed this out, and I do think this is a fair point. It says World Tour, but you've got Hong Kong, Jakarta, Bangkok, Singapore, Shanghai, Kuala Lumpur, Taipei. Those are all Asian territories. And then LA. Nothing in Latin America, nothing in Oceania, nothing in Europe. So I do think calling it a World Tour is, I think, stretching the definition a little bit, I think is probably the polite way to put it. And then it's finishing up in Japan. They haven't said where in Japan, incidentally. I'm imagining Tokyo, but that's not a guarantee. That is a prediction on my part. Just because Tokyo is where everyone's blatantly going to fly to. Pokemon did do Worlds in Yokohama, but they also took over the entire city. I wouldn't imagine this would be the same kind of thing. But you'll also notice that all of these, including Worlds, you've got One Piece, and then you've got Digimon. Those are the games that exist in the West and in Japan. You've then got Union Arena and Battle Spirits, which are Japanese games, and Battle Spirits Saga and Dragon Ball Super, which are Western games. Essentially, we've got 2 that exist everywhere, 2 that are essentially games for Asian territories, and 2 that are games in the West. I kind of love this. And they're having all of them. So all of those Card Games Fest locations will have all 6 games. Yes, that does include LA. No idea how it's going to work with Union Arena and Battle Spirits in LA. That is extremely confusing to me because those games don't exist in the US. They've not been released. Maybe they won't be. We don't know. We don't have any kind of look as it stands at the moment. But it literally says on the website, sharing the emotions the cards bring forth and connecting people around the world, Bandai Card Games provide cards that can introduce people to the world of the series and bring fans together. And then it's got all 6 of the games listed. So maybe they'll cut down the list in LA. But it would be weird if they cut down the list. And it would also be weird if they didn't cut down the list and they had the Asian games, your Battle Spirits and Union Arena in the US, bearing in mind those card games have not been released in the US. Both of those things would be a little bit weird. And then we get to Japan in March. I'm loving this. I think this is brilliant. I'm a huge fan of this. I am absolutely planning to be at the event in Utrecht in the Netherlands. That's going to be amazing. And I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, if I can find a way to get to Japan at the beginning of March and be at that event, I will be there as well. So yeah, it's going to be fun, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be fun. Oh, as a side note, there is actually a One Piece regional in Liverpool in November, which I will absolutely be at as well. I am very much planning to be at that event. Unfortunately, I will not be in the Netherlands at the beginning of November, as much as I'd like to be. There is a limit. But I will absolutely be at that one in mid-November in Liverpool. So yeah, there is a lot of One Piece fun to be had. Right, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you need to know, and now it's over to you guys. Tell me which of these events you want to be at. Tell me your thoughts about these events. Tell me anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wasi. That's where we talk One Piece and a bunch of other card games, like Bandai Card Games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.